Do you feel like you need a parenting guide for the real world? One that isn't full of ideas that no one will use, but a practical guide from parents who have done this thing well. Real world parenting isn't Instagram or Pinterest perfect. It is one giant learning curve with no checkpoints, cheat codes, and no refunds. But it is the greatest thing you will ever do. Kids don't come with a parenting guide, but we can learn from those who are further ahead of us. Parenting can feel like you're making decisions on the fly. It is mismatched socks, questionable stains, and hiding in the pantry to eat your breakfast because you just went one morning without anyone asking for your food. Is that just too much to ask? Yet, even in these hectic times, you're showing up, adjusting, and figuring it out as you go. And that's exactly what this parenting guide is here to help you do. This is your official permission slip to ditch the idea of being perfect and embrace the real life, boots on the ground version of parenting. Hello, Rebel Moms, and welcome to the Life Unboxed podcast. I'm Jody the mom, wife, homeschool mom of 6, and successful mom entrepreneur. And I am bringing you information and inspiration on raising kids, running a business, and keeping your sanity. You can find the episode show notes, Rebel Mom checklist to help you homeschool confidently, tools to make your work from home life easier, and more information at lifeunboxed.blog. Now let's get into the show. So you are the parent, start acting like it. Parenting is hard, but it is totally worth it. Your kids are not your emotional support animal. They aren't there to make you feel better about yourself or to make you look good. They are there so you can parent them. You have been entrusted with these tiny creatures. Be the parent. We have a culture that says, my happiness at any cost. If something doesn't make me happy, then I must be doing it wrong. If I'm not happy as a mom, then I must be doing something wrong. Happiness is a poor measuring stick for anything. It is a fleeting feeling that comes and goes with every wave of your emotions. Happiness should be an outcome, not something that we measure everything by. It is a fleeting feeling, it is momentary, and it depends on your circumstances being just right or just what you imagined. Parenting is never what we imagined. So, yes, parenting can be chaotic, but if your days are constant chaos, then this is your wake up call to put your big girl pants on and do what you need to do. Yes, there will be days of chaos, but this should not be your standard. Okay, but I have good news for you. It is never too late to change things. Yes, you have fallen into some bad habits, but if you are ready to put your big girl pants on and do what you have to do, then this parenting guide is for you. Understanding your kids even when they make no sense, and that happens a lot. Okay, so seriously, kids rarely make sense. I am constantly fascinated by how their little minds work and the things they come up with. Kids are mysterious creatures, often ruled by emotions, whim, and whatever they last ate. So, my sister in law has a master's in psychology, and I asked her one day how she would diagnose a child's behavior. Her response was she always looks at the food. This was some of the best parenting advice I've heard. If your kids aren't making any sense and their emotional reactions to everything are out of the ordinary, then check their food. In my personal experience, the culprits are usually food dyes and high fructose corn syrup. Sometimes food isn't the culprit, but it is a clash of personalities. Take time to understand your kids and what makes them tick. I get it. You don't do this in every situation, but when the opportunities arise, ask them why. If you can understand their thought process, then this will help you to explain yourself better or explain the situation in a way that your kids understand. Parenting can feel like a long series of educated guesses. Sometimes you nail it, and other times not so much. Understanding your kids is about gathering data and applying it the next time. All right, let's talk about boundaries, consistencies, and expectations. You need to set boundaries and be consistent with them and have clear expectations. You aren't a mind reader, and neither are your kids. Have your kids ever done things that cause you to wonder? Something that you thought they should have known better, but clearly they did not. This is why you need to clearly communicate your boundaries and expectations. Kids push boundaries not because they want freedom, but because they want to know where the safety lines are. Boundaries offer security, stability, and clarity. They don't just help kids thrive, but they help you keep your sanity. One of the hardest parts about parenting is being consistent with everything. When my older kids were in school, child number 4 was a toddler. We were getting ready to drop them off. And can I just say, I'm so glad I'm not doing that anymore. And I told the toddler he couldn't bring a toy. I can't remember why, but I had a good reason, I'm sure. Anyway, we are halfway to the school and I discovered that he brought it. What was I going to do? I can't turn around, but the thought going through my head was, I need to deal with this now or I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life. So I did the only thing I could do. I pulled to the side of the road and took the toy from him. Not a big deal, but I needed to be consistent and follow through with what I had already told him. Your kids need to believe you, and they only know that they can trust you when you are consistent with your parenting. It isn't fair to your kids if you have expectations, but you've never communicated those with them. You are setting them up for failure. It is necessary to clearly communicate your expectations for behavior, day to day, and what you expect from them individually. This doesn't need to be a long list, but things like you expect them to tell you the truth, you expect them to treat people with kindness and politeness. Keep your expectations clear. Okay, so now let's get into practical strategies because it's easy to offer ideas about parenting, but is way more helpful when someone gives practical strategies. So here it is. Number 1, never lie to your kids. I know parents want to excuse, the little white lies, but never lie to your kids. Your kids need to trust you. When you call out to them because they are running headlong into the street, they need to know that you mean what you say and will stop immediately. It is a safety issue. My oldest daughter, who is a teenager now, told me a story that she remembers me saying something to her that wasn't true. And I told her that never happened. And her reply was, I know it didn't, but that is how I remember it. I know you would never have said that because it was a lie. Your kids need to trust you. This is the foundation for any relationship, including a relationship with your kids. And yes, I get it. Kids ask uncomfortable questions that they just aren't ready to handle the answers. Instead of making up a story like the stork brought the baby, just tell them the truth. They aren't ready for the answer, and you will answer the question in a few years. It is honest. Number 2, have a bedtime. This was, again, the best piece of advice I heard before we had kids. Have a set bedtime because your kids will stay up to all hours of the night if you let them. This isn't good for them and it is not good for you. You need to continue to invest in your relationship with your spouse. When your kids are young, after bedtime is about the only time you will have. Cherish the time and put your kids to bed at a reasonable hour. It will be tempting to give in, but don't do it. From the time your kids are babies, you want to have a bedtime routine and set a time they go to bed. This will also help with newborn sleep, but that's another conversation. Number 3, eat dinner together. It is easy to get caught up in the events of the day and just disconnect with each other. Eating dinner together consistently will allow for connection at the end of the day. Yes, as kids get older, this will get harder, especially when they get jobs, but make an effort to eat together whenever you can. Relationships just don't happen. There needs to be cultivation and an investment in each other. Eating together is a natural way for conversations to flow and laughter to fill the air. Our table is full of laughter. Number 4, say what you mean and mean what you say. This goes back to being consistent. Your kids need to trust you, so be clear with what you say and don't change your mind all the time. Yes, sometimes we need to change our minds, but this is the exception and not the rule. You need to mean what you say and say what you mean. Number 5, teach your kids self-control. What's cute at 2 will be a nightmare at 12. It is possible for kids to learn to control themselves. If your 6-year-old is spitting out food because he doesn't like it, that is not okay. This is an easier lesson to learn when you start teaching it at a young age. Yes, your 2-year-old can learn age appropriate ways to practice self control. Trust me, you want them to have a good handle on this lesson by the time they reach their teen years. Mom, put your big girl pants on and start teaching your kids how to control their impulses, their emotions, and their behavior. This isn't easy, but if you want to raise good humans, then it is necessary. Parenting is not easy, but it is the greatest thing you will ever do. Sometimes we make it harder because we haven't set clear expectations and boundaries. Our kids are out of control because they weren't taught to control themselves. Mom, chaos doesn't have to be an everyday occurrence. You can teach your kids. Yes, it will take time and consistency, but you can do it. Parenting isn't about perfection, it's about presence, growth, and staying committed, even when things feel hard. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check out lifeunboxed.blog and download your Rebel Moms checklist. Happy homeschooling and working from home, and I will see you next time.